Louie Gohmert is here, a congressman from Texas, and one of the best guys. I mean, you are really, really one of the good guys. You never sit down, you never shut up, and I am grateful that, seriously, I am grateful that you are there. I want to talk to you a little bit about, you heard the opening monologue.
It was awesome.
Anything I have wrong, you think?
Well, you're the only one putting a legitimate opinion forward as to why our ambassador was in Benghazi. We had no embassy there. He didn't have a security detail. I don't see any evidence to the contrary. Everything else is factually set out, except you did ask one question that was somewhat rhetorical. You said, if the media does not hold him accountable on this, then what will happen after this election? Well, he's provided us the answer, and that is he's going to have a lot more flexibility.
Yeah, transmit to Vladimir. Yeah. I am really concerned, Congressman, that this president is in bed with the Muslim Brotherhood. There's no way that he is, I mean, his advice, and maybe he's all innocent and he just doesn't know.
He knows who he's getting advice from, and I mean, you could. I've seen it on.
Maybe he thinks that the Muslim Brotherhood, they're all good guys.
Well, no, he clearly thinks that. I really believe he thinks that, because that's why he surrounded himself, and that's why CAIR and ISNA, that the federal trial here in Dallas established and the Fifth Circuit affirmed. CAIR and ISNA are the two largest front organizations for the Muslim Brotherhood. We know the president of ISNA, the Islamic Society of North America, has direct inroads into the White House. We know that the #2 guy in the National Security Administration, Dennis McDonough, gave a speech to the All Dulles Area Muslim Society, ADAMS, I'm sure John appreciates it, but in which he starts out by thanking Imam Majid, the president of ISNA, for the wonderful introduction and for the wonderful prayers that he gives at the Iftar celebration at the White House. We also know that May of last year, when Netanyahu was on his way here from Israel to speak to AIPAC and to Congress, that Obama got advice from the Muslim Brotherhood, from Imam Majid and others, rush out there and give a speech to set the stage. And by the way, we've all agreed to pre-1967 borders. The Muslim Brotherhood is advising him that that's what's agreed on.
Okay.
And we know that Majid was in the State Department, in the inner sanctum.
Is he so stupid that he really believes that this will lead to peace and the United States and Israel will be left alone? Does he really believe that, do you think?
I think he believes what he said when he said in Egypt, and he said it other places. But the United States has been dismissive, we've been divisive, we've been derisive, and he needs to bring us down a notch. And I think he's doing what he said needs to be done.
Okay. So what happens how many troops do you know? How many troops we have in Jordan? I talked to a congressman today, and he said he doesn't know. He's trying to get information on how many.
I've been trying to get information. We don't know. But I do know that last year, after our ally and friend King Abdullah in Jordan, who's kept the most secure border that Israel has, after he saw how we turned on Mubarak and we turned on an ally of this administration, Gaddafi, and helped push them out, and as you've shown, led to Gaddafi's torture and demise, Abdullah reaches out to Ahmadinejad. That was in the news, and actually I set up a CODEL for August of last year, and we had, I think, 4 Republicans and 3 Democrats to go. And my whole concern was driven by Abdullah's concern that this country will turn on him next the way we have other allies. And I've also met 3 times with the Northern Alliance in Afghanistan. They defeated the Taliban initially. We did take their weapons back, except for small arms, and now we're negotiating with the Taliban. So the worst place, as the Northern Alliance, our former allies have told us when I've met with them, including in April in Afghanistan, they've said, you have to understand the way it looks around the world. The worst place to be is in the friendship of the United States. Okay. You're better off being an enemy like the Taliban.
I have heard that China has reached out to Israel. Is that true?
Yes. I'd mentioned to Virginia before the show, but in November of last year, when there were 5 of us members of Congress in Israel, we met with a number of different ministers, and one of them had said, you just missed the Chinese. And he was kind of laughing about it. He said, but every time the U.S. does something, kind of stabs Israel in the back, the Chinese just magically appear and they say, are you ready to acknowledge you can't trust the U.S. yet? Everybody else in the world is figuring it out. Eventually you here in Israel will figure it out, and when you do, you'll find China is ready to be your friend and to be a better ally than the U.S. has ever been. And let me tell you something else in that trip. We all met with Netanyahu, as you normally do over there, and when all the others had walked out, I said to Netanyahu, and he knows me from other visits, he knows that I pushed for a year to try to get him invited to speak to Congress to show show Israel's enemies Congress. We may not agree on much, but we agree on support for Israel. But I said, look, I am so sorry that we have put you in a position to not only defend yourself, but to defend us, because Iran is every bit as much an enemy to us as they are to you. And now you don't have our best bunker buster. You don't have the F-35s yet. You don't have the stealth we do. And we put you in a position where you have to defend both of us. I'm really sorry. And he said, all I would ask is that you remind your president in the days to come that he is the one who publicly said Israel must defend itself by itself. Well, when I got back, I went, I don't remember that. Well, it was in the AIPAC speech, May of last year. I got the transcript, and that's exactly what he said. And don't forget, though, Israel must defend itself by itself.
Unbelievable. Louie, thank you very much.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Glenn.
it.
Thanks for all the truth you're getting out.
You bet. God bless. Back in a minute.